Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 4-1. This is where we get into, or at least start getting into, the real meat of things of management. Let's start off with a quote by Richard Branson, who is the founder of the Virgin Group. He said, "Train people well enough so that they can leave. Treat them well enough so they don't want to." Well, what does he mean by this? Well, we'll get into that and we'll kind of touch on it a little bit later. First off, I want you to think about where you will spend the most productive years of your life. Where will they be spent? It's going to be working. Okay. At some point in your life, you will either be a manager or you will be managed. Those of you who already are in the job industry or already in an industry, you already have a job, you probably have already seen this. Okay, many jobs require both being managed and managing others. Remember that business is about people. Okay, companies with great cultures have an advantage. So, the official definition of management is planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, and leading people, processes, and assets in order to achieve a goal or task in the best way possible. So, when we think about each of these five things, right? Okay, um, planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, leading. What does planning mean? Planning is the process of deciding beforehand what is to be done, when it is to be done, how it's to be done, and who's going to do this. This is kind of like your strategy, okay? Next, as far as organizing, what does organizing mean? This is the process of coordinating human efforts and arranging resources in an effort to achieve company objectives. Staffing. This is the means to recruit, interview, and hire the appropriate people to fill organizational roles. This is a key phrase. You want to find the right people for the right jobs. Controlling is the process of continually checking and managing results against your goals. It's comparing actual performance with set objectives to ensure the achievement of the plan's objectives. If performance is off, corrective actions occur. So you're comparing your actual versus standards to ensure the achievement. And finally, leading. Leadership means inspiring, motivating, influencing, and maximizing the efforts of people towards a common purpose. I'll say that again. Inspiring, motivating, influence, and maximizing the efforts of people toward a common purpose. It includes communicating, motivating, guiding, encouraging, giving directions, follow up, coaching, assisting, and reviewing the execution of the plan. Leadership is a big responsibility. It is probably one of the most key areas of the management process. In my opinion, my personal opinion, it's even greater than actually managing. Leadership is greater than that. And when you have really large companies, there may exist many layers within each level of manager. This is essentially what's called a chain of command. This is your organizational structure that shows who each person reports to and who is responsible for what. When it comes to management, there are essentially three broad levels of management. One is your supervisory. This is your front line, your entry level employees that report to supervisory level managers. Supervisors typically report to middle managers. This is your link between senior management and the lower levels of the organization. And finally, you have your officer or executive level. This is the group of leaders, of managers that are involved in the vision, the strategy, the leadership. They're the ones making the big decisions at the highest level of the department or of the company itself. Now, if you're a manager, you got to have effective management skills, such as problem solving. This is the ability to make good trade-offs with limited resources, as well as how to handle difficult and complex challenges. This is where your problem solving, that's problem solving, your skills, that's where that comes in, is being able to figure out what to do. People skills is the ability to empathize and understand them. This is also known as emotional intelligence, or EQ. Okay, another way to remember that, EQ, emotional intelligence, while at the same time leading and managing those people. You also have to understand procedural skills. This is where you quickly learn to perform certain methods, certain sequences, certain processes, certain procedures in order to accomplish a task. And of course, finally, you've got to have leadership skills. Again, this is the ability to inspire, motivate, influence, and maximize the efforts of people towards a common purpose. Now, what are some skills that each type? There's different skills that are needed depending on the type of manager you are. At a supervisory level, your role might require someone with more procedural skills because they are the closest to the daily operations. They're doing the day-to-day. Middle management is a good blend of all the skills because you are that link between these two levels. And then, of course, the executive level, this is more the problem solving, or that leans more into the problem solving. You still need problem solving at these two levels, but the executive level is where you really lean on that problem solving skills because you are making such complex decision making. Now, I want to touch on a little bit the difference between a leader and a manager. So, this is a quote from Colin Powell, who was the former U.S. Secretary of State. He said that leadership is the art of accomplishing more than the science of management says is possible. Remember that business is all about people. The focus is about people, managing other people, and managing the business functions. Managers are the ones who are ensuring that the work gets done. We've got to remember that forms of communication change, and technology also changes rapidly. Work settings can change because there's virtual and remote environments. How managers treat others reveals leadership and the true character of a company. Let's go back to that Richard Branson quote. He said, "Train people well enough so that they can leave, but treat them well enough so that they don't want to." Again, going back here, how managers treat each other reveals the true character of the company. That true character is what makes up a company's values and culture. And speaking of company values, these are what a company believes. It's business practices around how teammates treat one another and how the company treats its customers. And the culture is the shared beliefs, the values, the goals, the attitudes, behaviors of the company's employees. Again, company culture, the shared beliefs, the values, the goals, the attitudes, behaviors of the company's employees. A company's culture combines employee feelings about their work and how it motivates them to serve the company's mission. So why do people stay with companies, or why do they leave? Well, when it comes down to it, people leave managers, not companies. 57% of employees left a job because of a manager or a leader. This is from a 2019 study. 57%. People leave managers, not companies. Managers have a big impact, the good and the bad, and whether or not the work environment is enjoyable or not. I will say it again: people leave managers, not companies. If you are a good manager and you have the right skills, you have the leadership, you have all of the other skills and abilities that are in this lesson, your people may not leave. People won't leave because you're a good manager. So this is our lesson 4-1 on management. Remember that management is planning, organizing, staffing, and controlling and leading people. And having effective management skills leads to a positive company culture and company values.